Hello, I'm Gretchen Bond, Board President of the Nevada City Chamber of Commerce and Executive Director of the Miners Foundry Cultural Center. For 119 years, Chamber members, community leaders, and the public have all come together to celebrate the installation of new board members, along with the recipients of the annual Nevada City Chamber of Commerce Awards. But due to COVID-19 pandemic, we are unable to gather in person. Like so many of you in the small business and nonprofit community, we are making the pivot, thinking outside of the box, and have elected to bring this year's awards and their winners home to you. These annual awards honor both organizations and individuals who have made significant contributions to the Nevada City community through their time, actions, talents, and dedication. Those selected serve as a role model for compassion and service and are constantly striving to make the world a better place. It is my great pleasure and honor to announce this year's recipients of the Nevada City Chamber of Commerce 2020 Awards for Outstanding Community Service.
My name is Hank Meals, and I am honored to receive this award. I'm only sorry that not all of you can be here today, but this is a small town, and I'm sure we'll bump into each other eventually. Let's start at the beginning. I bought land on the San Juan Ridge in 1973, moved there with my family. This is a harvest festival. The beat goes on. That vibe is still here in Nevada City. It's part of our culture. I want you to understand that because we're going to continue to promote it. I was fortunate enough to get a job in 1975 with the Forest Service when they were first enacting NEPA, which is the National Environmental Protection Act. It's essentially an environmental law, but this one included what they called cultural resources. Well, that was an excellent job for me. I had a degree in anthropology, and I was planting trees and climbing trees for pine cones and all sorts of jobs like that. So this was really exciting. I'm indebted to the Forest Service, Tahoe National Forest, because I did that job off and on for a period of probably 15 years. And during that time, I got to really know this landscape, and I got to see thousands of sites. So it was just a segue when I eventually started sharing what I knew. It was easy. In 1993, Susan Amella, my wife at the time, she and I put together a book called Yuba Trails, and it was all about historical trails because we'd come back and we'd tell people about our day, and we'd just go on, and I had all this historical information. I had never written before, but I just thought I'd give it a try. And with the support of the fabulous publisher around here, Dave Comstock, I put together 3 books on hiking trails, and they've been well received. They're out of print now. We probably sold 12,000 copies or so. So when I go out with a group and we're hiking, I mean, we're essentially reading the landscapes. It's amazing how much is still here. So it's like a storybook. When you get down to it, the Yuba watershed, the Yuba Bear have been the most manipulated of all the Sierra streams. And I know you'll agree with me that despite that, these are the most loved. There are many, many people to thank. I don't know where to begin. It's just a huge list. I've been around here 50 years and I've had chapters in my life, and there are people who are important in all of those, but the primary person to thank is the woman who cooks these fabulous meals in my house and backs me in everything I do. That's Carol, my wife.
Well, I am just so honored to be honored in this way. I moved here in 1979. It was November, so that means I've been here 41 years and 2 months. I was living in Vermont before that. I had gone to college for a couple of years and quit to become a musician. It took about 4 years for me to accomplish just earning a living playing music. And so I decided to move into my car and travel. And I spent several months just driving around the country looking for this. And I found it. What I was looking for, I think, was a community. When I first pulled into town, it was a weekday night, and I had sung for tips down at the kitchen in Auburn. And I walked into the mine shaft, said, "Hey, is there a place I can sing for tips tonight?" And the guy sitting at the bar said, "Go up to Duffy Success and tell him Jim said you could play." Jim Morales, who owned Duffy Success, was drinking at the mine shaft that night. And I played for an hour, set up my PA. I made $1 in tips, but that was my first gig in town, and I've pretty much been here ever since. But it's the venues that I think really kind of nailed it. Here we are in the parking lot of the Miners Foundry, which I recorded my first album right there in 1982 in the old stone room. I've played in this parking lot. I've played every corner of this town just because we have music here. And as a result, there's musicians who have come here just like I did. Key to having a music scene is having people willing to stick out their necks and hire a musician and try and draw a crowd. And it works. And people come here for that. Paul Emery and I have known each other for many, many years. And we were the Fun Train Minstrels, played on the Fun Train to Reno together as a duo for over 25 years. And we're still doing things together. Paul Emery presents, he does Nevada City Live at the Nevada Theater, and I'm on the team that helps produce those shows. The Center for the Arts in Grass Valley, Paul and I were a big part of getting that started back in the late 90s, early 2000s. The Nevada County Fairgrounds, California World Fest, Strawberry Music Festival, KVMR Celtic Festival, Music in the Mountains, all just essential parts of the musical scene that we have going on here. And KVMR, I really have to say, is the glue that holds it together. Also, I have to talk about my good friend John Gurton, and I've played many, many, many gigs together, and we had a great gig just last Friday with Joe Craven and Daryl Anger. It's a new little band in town, all-star band. The Deadbeats, of course, playing music of the Grateful Dead. There might be a Jerry Bash this year. We're working on it. My good friends Mountain John and Mo Dixon, before I moved here, they were solo acts that I got to know, and they mentored me and showed me how to get a gig and how to play a gig. So we still write songs together, and essential part of my kit is Troubadour Camp. It's what we call that show. And of course, Paul Emery and I have been part of the Thousands Kisses Deep, the Songs of Leonard Cohen extravaganza that's been going up for over, I think we're on 11 years now. The American Pyramids was a group I put together back in the 1980s, and we had two rules in the Pyramids. There was always somebody new in the band, and we never rehearsed. Film festivals. We've become a little film industry town, too. Music plays into that. It's just reaching out to people and finding ways to touch their hearts with art. It's been a wonderful place to be here in Nevada City and Nevada County, Grass Valley. Big shout out to the Chamber of Commerce, and thank you so much.
Hello, I'm Kimberly Parker, Executive Director of Sierra Nevada Memorial Hospital Foundation. I am so excited to be here today to accept an award on behalf of the Nevada County Relief Fund. When the county approached the Hospital Foundation back in last February or March, we were really excited to be involved as fiscal sponsor. I do have to acknowledge the Hospital Foundation Board, the Hospital Board, and our President CEO, Dr. Brian Evans, because when we brought this to their attention about how we might be involved to help our community, everybody jumped on board right away. We were also thrilled to be able to join our partners, Sierra Business Council, the Center for Nonprofit Leadership, Economic Resource Council, Tahoe Forest Community Foundation, and countless individuals that joined committees and participated and jumped on right from the very beginning. Also our co-chairs, Leo Granucci and Sherry Bartolucci. I have to say, putting the infrastructure together very quickly and getting money out into the hands of businesses and nonprofits was key, and everyone worked very hard to make that happen. Then the fun began. We started raising money, and over 800 donors made donations of all different levels. We had donations of $10 up to $10,000 and higher, and everybody had stories about why they wanted to do it. But most importantly, I think this is unique and special about living in a rural community. It's because they wanted to help the businesses, because these were people that were their friends, their neighbors, their loved ones. And it was really important that we preserve our historic downtown. This was a very special time for our community, and I think it showed how in working together, we can make amazing things happen. Very quickly, we had to pivot because before we knew it, we were into the Jones fire and power outages. And without a doubt, the committee made the decision that they were going to raise money for that as well. An additional $40,000 came out of that effort, and everybody that was impacted by the Jones fire received some support back because of that. I am so lucky to live in a community with such generosity. I thank everybody that was a gift giver in this, and I thank the businesses and nonprofits for stepping up and letting us know how we could be of help to them. Thank you so much to the Chamber. We are so grateful for this prestigious award.
Hello, I'm Supervisor Heidi Hall, and I'm here to thank the Nevada City Chamber of Commerce for recognizing the Nevada County Relief Fund with its Elza Kilroy Award. What an honor. When the pandemic hit last year and businesses were shut down, the community came together to help one another. The Nevada County Board of Supervisors put up $100,000 in a challenge grant to raise funds from the community to provide to our neighbors and our businesses and nonprofits. With that $100,000, the community raised $1 million. Most of these from small donations from personal bank accounts. With those funds, we supported 33 nonprofits to provide food and other services to our neediest families. And we provided up to $5,000 each micro grants to over 150 businesses throughout Nevada County, 40 of them right here in Nevada City. I want to commend the Volunteer Community Advisory Council for spending 11 months working tirelessly to raise these funds, showing what we can do when we come together. This pandemic has been difficult for the entire community, and our small businesses are vital to the heart of our downtown. When we come together, we are going to get through this crisis stronger than ever. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Teresa Berliner-Mann, and I own a shop in downtown Nevada City. J.J. Jackson's was opened 38 years ago, and I bought it in 2006. The pandemic was a total surprise, as you can imagine, for most of us, and our shop was closed for 4 months. We've long felt the support of our community, but when I applied for a grant from the Nevada County Relief Fund and received it, I felt such a sense of applause of people saying, yes, it's worth it. Keep doing this. We believe in you. I knew that my friends, neighbors, and our larger community had contributed that money, and it really had deep meaning to us. We're so grateful for it, and I'm really pleased that they're being honored with the Elza Kilroy Award. Thanks, Nevada City Chamber.
Before I came into office, I worked with leaders in the West County and a number of other organizations, chambers of commerce, to develop the criteria and award the money that we had raised through the Nevada County Relief Fund to small businesses countywide. I've seen that this support has bridged the gap during a really difficult period in our county's history. I wanted to acknowledge the people that have worked so hard to make this program successful. It's really awesome to see Nevada County come together, east and west, to support our small business community. We have more shared DNA than you would ever expect, and when you get people in the room to solve a problem, you can see that we are our one county, supporting each other, growing together, and getting through this together. I look forward to working more diligently with everybody in our county to solve the problems that we face together. Thank you again.
Hello, I'm John Blinder. I'm the president of the board of your Nevada County Arts Council, and we are honored this year to receive the award for the performing arts for our Sierra Poetry Festival. It came about 5 years ago when an opportunity came to create an event that nobody else in the community was doing, and we jumped on the opportunity to fill in poetry as that topic. And since then, this will be our 5th year coming up. We've had the most exciting presenters. We've had children, we've had poet laureates from around the country, and it has been the most exciting event. Last year, during COVID, we had the opportunity to continue it, but as an online experience. And to our amazing surprise, over 10,000 people joined in to participate. The New York Times acknowledged our Sierra Poetry Festival as one of the 3 most interesting festivals online in that year. We're very honored to do that. And I want to share our gratitude with Briarpatch, KVMR, and my company personally, Coldwell Banker Grassroots Realty Commercial Division, for supporting this from the very beginning. This year, our Poetry Festival will be again on April 10th and 11th. During the month, we will also have other events that occur. It's Arts and Poetry Month in California and across the country. And we're just so proud to be a part of this and supporting it as the Nevada County Arts Council and for everything that we do. So thank you very much.
My name's Elza Tudor, Executive Director at Nevada County Arts Council. I can't tell you how thrilled we all are. Our board of directors, myself, all our contractors, our artists, everyone we work with year on year. We're so delighted to receive this award. One of our main themes this year has how to share the idea that art does not happen in isolation. And while we've all been feeling so isolated through COVID, whether in the business sector, in the arts sector, in local government, we've all come together this year, and Nevada County Arts Council is so proud to have produced these extraordinary projects that have been for the benefit of all, for all our communities. So thank you.
Hello, my name is John Christensen, and I'm the director of the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad Museum in Nevada City. And we're a railroad museum that displays railroad equipment and all other kinds of transportation equipment related to Nevada County. We've been at that site here in Nevada City since 2001 when construction began. This was a joint venture project between the city of Nevada City and the Nevada County Historical Society. It took about 2 years to complete construction over there, and then we finally dedicated the building in May of 2003. Since then, we've opened the doors and quietly expanding our operation, and adding to the restoration shop, adding a new rail bus barn in the back, and adding a lot of railroad equipment. I go out and look for and bring back and restore. The railroad was constructed or funded and constructed by local businessmen from both the city of Grass Valley and Nevada City. It wasn't an outside operation. It was purely a Nevada County operation. Well, say John Kidder, he was a surveyor, and he actually surveyed a couple of other railroads prior to surveying the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad. So eventually, he was able to become president of the railroad. And he did this until about 1899 when he passed away from diabetes. And then his wife, Sarah, she actually took over the railroad since they had controlling shares of the stock. And she operated it for another 12 years very successfully. She was the first known woman president of a railroad in the United States. She upgraded the railroad to modern standards and actually paid dividends, whereas they hadn't before. So the Kidders were very well respected, and when she retired from the railroad around 1913, she went back to San Francisco, and that's where she lived. Well, in regards to the kiosk informational site on Railroad Avenue, that started around June 2018. One of our members, Andrew Brandon, he's one of our historians, asked me about the monument at Railroad Avenue. He'd like to see it repaired, and I agreed with him, but I told him, let me check with Nevada City. I met with city engineer Brian McAllister, city planner Amy Wolfson, and we started discussing the site, and they indicated that they would like to see something done there, particularly since it was one of the main gateways into Nevada City. Just went on from there. I met with two of my volunteers, Gary and Ken. Gary, he came up with the idea, well, why don't we make the kiosk in the shape of the Nevada City Depot? And then Ken Mathias, he then did the drawings. I also presented the idea of putting display track on Railroad Avenue and also putting a railroad car there as part of the display. So the kiosk now, one panel shows all these structures, where they're located, and the actual depot building where the kiosk is sitting right on the back corner of where the original building was. And then the track is actually on the original easement, mainline easement. So that's pretty exciting. I'm honored to accept the Stans Hall Award for architecture for the Nevada County Narrow Gauge Railroad and the Nevada County Historical Society. I believe Nevada City should also be a part of that award. It was a joint effort. Very happy with what's happening, and we're still working to make it better.